Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? It's Ethan McKinley, and welcome to the 2-Minute Terminator, where we break down the Terminator films 2 minutes at a time. How are you? How you going? How's it going over there? We are going from episode 10 today, and we are going from minutes...
I don't know. I don't do the logistics of the show.
Oh, God.
I'm here for the nerd talk. And
I've cocked it up, haven't I?
Why? What have you done?
You've cocked it up. Yes, Charlton Heston, you have. You want me to
Ethan's now just
apologize.
filling time so that he can work out how many minutes we're on so that he can look at the SoundCloud.
That's another show. We're going from minutes 18 to 20. I do apologise, listeners. And the bookends of the scene are...
Ethan, you're all over the place.
It's Courtney playing Carl Reese trapped in the time stream, and it ends with Courtney landing like a big pile of giant man hunk onto the back alleys of Los Angeles. We got through that one, didn't we, Ellie? How are you, Ellie?
How's work, Ethan?
It was very good. We're doing a very late night podcast on the lam because we do these things live as they come out on the day usually. And we don't pre-record them months in advance because, well, quite frankly,
Life's too short.
And I'm dyslexic. As evidenced in this episode.
Hit the music.
Yeah, I think this guy's a couple cans short of a six-pack.
Howdy, stranger.
Don't say howdy, stranger, to me.
Load up.
You didn't do the fourth.
Thank God. It sucked. Yeah, it sucked.
And we're back. Yes, hello everyone, it's Ethan McKinley.
Hello.
I'm here with my charming co-host Ellie Fitzgerald, who's had a sick day from work apparently today. So as I'm still in London, we can do a show live for you together.
You lucky people.
You lucky people. Yeah, it's episode 10. We are going from minutes 18 to 20, the 2 minutes bridging that gap. As I said before, it opens with Courtney spinning in a giant globe of hot French blue semen. And it ends with him arriving or being birthed into our time, or their time, or another time, which was Los Angeles.
Well, the 80s.
May the 12th, I believe.
1980.
So, Ellie, you've studied this clip. You've got some notes. What have you gleaned from this clip in your day off when you could actually prepare properly for the show?
So the first thing that I wanted to
While
know...
I frantically search for my notes.
We see Jai being surrounded by this blue, misty, smoky stuff. And he looks out and then he starts to scream as he sees John Connor being approached from behind by some shady-looking fellow. But as he puts his hand over John's mouth, his hand goes all red. Why does that happen?
I suppose it's
What
to
kind
convey...
of Terminator is he?
Well, he's not a Terminator, is he? I think he's something like other, even though like the nano... I guess he's pumping his mouth full of nanotechnology. A little bit like the way in the remake of The Thing, the 2011 remake / prequel. Like this guy gets the hand put over his face. It's the guy from Game of Thrones. And his hand merges into his face and he just starts... all this stuff in his hand just starts pumping into his face and mouth and stuff. Oh no, it's not a hand. It's a hand that breaks off, and it runs up his shoulder and just clamps onto his face hugger style.
Well, it kind of detracts away from my question, and that is why this guy's hand goes red, and what actually is this guy for his hand to go red and for him to shoot nanobots inside John's mouth?
It's late night love lines.
It sure is.
I guess it's the directorial choice. It's special effects. It's to convey there's something bad happening.
But what is that thing? Is it a Terminator? Is it Skynet?
I
What
guess
has
it's like...
Skynet taken the form of?
I assume maybe it's the same thing that John Connor becomes. It's like some kind of like technological thing. So like is it the John Connor Terminator, spoilers, that he becomes? He's every part of him is a tiny little piece. Like
Nanobot.
Yeah, nanobot. So I guess if Matt Smith made up of those, or he just fills his body with them, it kind of like replicates every single cell of his body, including all the neurons and neural pathways in his brain, recreating the personality that is John Connor. But he's also obviously Skynet as well. So I guess it's a bit like The Thing. My only question is though, when Matt Smith.
So have Skynet sent that thing or that person back in time? Because in this time frame, if you think about it, Kyle is about to go back to 1980 whatever, and he's saying, you know, the first robots, they were easy. Rubber skin, bad breath, blah blah blah. Oh no, that was then the upgrade. So he's only used to the T-800s, and yet this dude is shooting nanobots into John's mouth, so surely he's time travelled.
No, he is Skynet.
So what, Skynet can just travel wherever through time?
Well, they've added a new crease or a wrinkle to the mythology where Matt Smith...
Do you see where I'm going with this, though?
Yeah, but like... No, I'm sure Skynet has a million other kind of special projects and experiments going on. You've got the very basic things like the HKs, the rolling HKs, the tank type things, but by the same token, it would be developing other things. I would have thought Skynet's physical manifestation would have been through all the Terminators, so it was simultaneously experiencing the war, the Earth itself, like subjectively, a bit like that Bill Hicks joke. Well, people suggest that God is in all of us, so like if there's like an infinite wisdom in the universe, it exists in all living things, so it's kind of experiencing itself, a bit like a giant acid trip. That the universe is like, you know, exploring itself and the world and existence through like living things, be they plants, insects, animals. Maybe that's what Skynet is. And it does say in this eventually that Matt Smith is Skynet, is the physical manifestation of Skynet. So I assume, like...
So Skynet itself is a Terminator?
Well, is Matt... It's not really discussed, is it? Or explained that
what
Matt
do you
Smith
think?
is. No, I think he's something else. Or he's made up of the same...
You are something else.
Well, because he's walking with them, he's either infiltrated them like ages and ages ago, and they've accepted him into their own Matt Smith, as it were. Or, like The Thing... He was someone they already knew, and he's on that mission. And at some point during the attack, the final attack on Skynet that we've had in the last like few minutes, the main part of it, of course, was the one with I think Steele Saunders and the Ghostbusters guys, episodes 5 and 6, I think, when they're actually attacking Skynet. At some point, maybe Matt Smith was kind of like separated from the group, and however it did it, it kind of took him over and replicated him, and now it's going to kind of, he has to get close to obviously John Connor.
And also, whilst we're on this bit, Jai's spinning around, he's screaming, he's seeing John being
and no one else is reacting,
mauled.
are they?
No one else is reacting, but my question was, I was assuming that this was Jai's memory of what we're seeing here, these childhood memories of his.
No, because this kid who looks a little bit like the kid from Jumanji, if anyone remembers that.
Who's this meant to be then? This little kid, is that not meant to be Carl Reese? Have you watched this clip?
I've watched the clip and I've watched the film, but we discussed this, didn't we? Because someone explained this actually to me. I think it was the Ghostbusters guys. So I watched the film, and all this part with Genesis and this little kid went completely over my head. And I've seen it a few times now, the film.
Because isn't the idea meant to be...
See, look, she's like touching his hand now, so is...
I know, which again, because I think I remember that later on in the film we find out that Kyle Reese had already met Sarah Connor. And he has this weird vague memory of someone running their hand down his palm and just saying a straight line. I swear that's in it.
I think
so. That means that there's a plot twist. That means there's a plot... I'm trying to be serious here, man.
Adam Bird. That's the actor I'm trying to think of.
So there's a plot twist in there because it shows a flashback and Sarah Connor's in it, apparently. But also, at the very beginning of the film, Courtney is the voice overheard, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh, this is what Earth used to be like." But I wouldn't know. I was born after the war. And yet, in that flashback, we've just had him celebrating a birthday. It's nice and sunny outside. Everything's green and lush and wonderful. It's just like, hang on a second. At the very beginning of the film, you were saying that you just had to go by what your parents said. What are you doing?
Well, when he arrives in time at the end of the clip, I think it's like a digital double, or they put another person does the 4 and then they kind of morph it, computer generated, to Jai Courtney. It looks kind of funny when you look at his badooch.
Well, I thought that was actually my last note. I loved how it looked like Jai Courtney had just been flung into like an alleyway. In in Terminator, when it's Michael Biehn.
It's the same kind of hip fall.
He looks like he's actually fallen though. Jai just looks like he's been flung. He's been hoyed.
Well, that's why I think the impact is a stunt person, and they kind of like quickly morph it to him in the still. It just looks kind of like, I don't know, there's a kind of weird flash at the end of the clip.
Maybe they put him on a fake springy floor.
I don't know. Boom. There's a kind of flash of light just as he hits, and before he does the second bounce to his final resting
dude,
place.
look at the kind of special effects they've got in this movie. They'd be able to easily smooth over a slight little dunk.
So what do you think happens? Do you think John Connor, when he's like fingered by Matt Smith, as it were, do you think all the cohorts around him are all kind of Skynet / nanobot Terminator people?
No, I don't think that.
Why is no one reacting then?
I don't know. Maybe they're just so transfixed on what's happening.
Good word.
And maybe maybe Skynet knew that was the perfect time to strike, because everyone would be so involved in watching Kyle, aka Jai, being thrown through time.
But
literally.
he obviously converts John Connor to being a Terminator. I mean, John Connor arrives.
Yeah, but he doesn't sit down and have a whiskey with him and go, "Oi, mate."
No, but John Connor arrives through time, and obviously reappears at the hospital later on in this film, and he's revealed to be a Terminator because Pops attacks him.
Pops.
So either Matt Smith or John Connor would have had to have dispatched that entire team of people, set up the time machine again, and then sent them through. And that's fine, because you'd need two people to work the machine, one to get in it and one to obviously... Matt Smith would have to operate, I guess, well, you know what? At the end, spoilers, we're going to skip ahead. Matt Smith appears again as a kind of weird light hologram man at the end in 2017. So maybe this Skynet's AI already has a physical manifestation at that point, but at that point in 2017 or whatever it is, it's only light, and by the time we get up to through the years.
But weren't you actually saying the other day that that's meant to be John Connor's mate, the ginger kid? Wasn't that meant to be a theory as well?
Yeah.
God, how many theories have they got?
He's meant to be Danny Cooksey. Well, that's the actor that played John Connor's ginger friend. I think that's just like fan hearsay. There's nothing to really indicate that's who he is, and also it doesn't really matter if he's John Connor's friend from childhood or not. No one's reacting. No one's saying.
They can give a fuck, mate.
Well, they could. Oh, by the way, John Nichols, thank you so much for the Pearl Harbor, an homage to Ben Affleck 2001 Pearl Harbor poster that you did. It was quite funny.
Actually, he's done a few.
Do you know who was the first choice to play John Connor in this film, Ellie?
Who was the first choice to play John Connor in this amazing film?
Who do you think? Who would you have as John Connor in Terminator Genesis?
Terminator Genesis, Edward Furlong. I'd be like, let's bring him back.
Troubled Edward Furlong, no, not him. Tom Hardy, Ellie. Tom Hardy.
My God, are they just going for the meatheads?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think
who's that football thug that was in films?
I was going to say
Thanks for helping me out.
Well, no, Scott and Nick from Back to the Future Minute suggested John Connor only works when he's a kind of like they said, a messianic figure or like a legend or a voice on the radio. And I think you shouldn't ever really see John Connor because he could never live up to his expectations. Yeah, and there's no actor they could ever cast that would make you ever go, oh God, he's someone to follow. He's always better if left into your mind, and that's why I think leaving John Connor as Edward Furlong, that like playing 10 but actually 13-year-old boy, Generation X punk as it were, going, how does this kid turn it around and become a leader of people, would be a better way to go. Because you're not a fan of Jason Clarke in this, are you? Or are you?
No, not at all. Like I said, he looks like someone's geography teacher.
According to my notes, Ellie, Carl Reese was born in 2004, allegedly.
What?
Yeah, makes no sense. I should have made more notes.
Just forget the timeline, guys.
Tom Hardy was once considered for the role of John Connor, succeeded Mel Gibson to the role of Mad Max, which I think is a mistake. If anyone watches the trailer for Bloodfather, you so know Mel could still do that thing.
Oh my God, Mel should so have been in this movie.
No, not this. Mad Max.
No, Mel should so have been in this movie.
Mel should have been John Connor.
Oh my God, can you imagine? John's lost his mind.
James Cameron, the director and creator. You should just smile and blow me. I saw your friend. She was making eyes at me. She'd have blown me. I said, should have blown me, bitch. Mel Gibson's awesome. James Cameron, the director and creator of the Terminator franchise, had cited Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior as one of his influences behind the Terminator. So it's we've come full circle. After filming was completed, Matt Smith worked with Emilia Clarke's he worked with Emilia Clarke's Game of Thrones co-star Lena Headey, who actually plays Sarah Connor in the forthcoming 6th season of this show. He's crying. They starred together in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I've not seen that. Lena, of course, as I said, went on after Terminator. She went on till the end of her life, the last day of her life, and then she died. She plays Sarah Connor, of course, in the series. Byung-Hun Lee, this is the Asian actor who plays the T-1000. Was in The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, directed by Kim. Whoops. Asian listeners. Jee-Woon Kim, who directed The Last Stand, which starred Arnold Schwarzenegger. So the T-1000 worked with the same director of The Last Stand, basically, that starred Arnold. We've not seen that, have we?
No.
That's one Arnie film. I haven't seen the one with Johnny Knoxville and I'm a Sheriff. Have you seen the Opie and Anthony thing where they're talking about all the they never kind of... Because with Van Damme films, they always explain, like, Van Damme's accent, either he's from Belgium or France or blah, blah. They never explain Arnold, like, his accent.
No, I haven't seen that.
My name's John Kimball.
Is it actually Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Oh my god. What I wouldn't do to get him on this show. Not that he'd ever come on the show.
He'd never come on.
He would never come on. But that would be amazing. I probably wouldn't actually know what to say. Would you be able to talk to him?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you not get stage fright?
No.
Ethan, when we haven't done a podcast face to face for a while, you get stage fright from me.
Yeah, I really shouldn't go into stand-up comedy, should I?
No. No, you should. Have you added any more to your act?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
So when you told me to tell you when you say something that's funny and I say, put it in the act, you've just not been doing it.
No, that's down to you. That's not a thing on
Oh, so I've got to write down all your jokes?
Yeah.
Well, you never said that.
The 6th day. Now, where's the 6th day?
Why are we looking at that?
Because
Let's talk about how rubbish the hobo is in this scene.
Well, we don't get to him till the next minute. He
No,
reminds
but
me.
you still see him. He's got nothing on the original hobo, and that is the worst wig I've ever seen. The guy's got a brown beard, for fuck's sake. And I swear, because there is a good reason to.
Well, he
They've
doesn't.
given him a white
he
Gandalf
doesn't.
wig.
He doesn't act it mental or
He's
kind of
been given
homeless
a Gandalf
enough.
wig, and he's got a Gimli beard.
Well, he looks like Bruce Spence. He looks like Bruce Spence playing the kind of the train conductor guy from the Matrix Revolutions. Bruce Spence, of course, listeners will know from Mad Max 2. He played the gyro captain, and he played Jedediah in Mad Max 3. He was also a gyro captain, but a different gyro captain or a pilot, which is just ridiculous. Yeah. I did. Opie and I did this like 10-minute thing about Arnold Schwarzenegger in The 6th Day. My name is Adam Gibson. Adam Gibson. Yeah, this guy's like, he looks like he's in a, like you said, a wig and beard.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really play the kind of down and out as well as the other guy.
Being thrown
Hey
again.
buddy,
Never gets
zero
old.
bright light. He's not as good as that guy, is
No, he doesn't look dilapidated at all.
he? Dilapidated, that's a house. Buildings are dilapidated. People are derelict.
He is a derelict man.
By the way, on the subject of action figures, even though I've just brought that up as a subject, Vasquez, the drone alien, and Frost are now available from NECA, and I want to get them. There's a special on eBay for like £57. You get all 3 figures, and the last season, which is all 4 Alien 3 figures, which is 75. And now I'm in the money. I'm gonna start not gonna start spending frivolously, but I think I will. Can we keep this between us?
Well, you've already got
He's my
yourself a
teaching job.
bishop.
Yeah. Well, the problem he was
Yeah.
like £13. Like the other
Yeah,
alien
but it's a
figures are
really
like
good.
25.
It's a really good paint job, though.
It is.
Even you said that, and you are like the hardest person to please when it comes to paint.
I know.
What about my notes? I've done my notes.
You've done all your notes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap it up. It's the shortest episode of the season, but it is very late, and I have to kind of re-edit yesterday's show because the copywriters have got me.
They've got to us again.
They've got to us again, so we have to edit yesterday's show, the YouTube version, and put it back out again. But thank you all for listening, everyone. We shall return tomorrow with episode 11 of the 2 Minute Terminator, minutes 20 to 22, the 2 minutes bridging that gap, and we shall return then. If you want to donate money to the show, you can do so through my Patreon page, which is on my website, ethanmckinley.com, and there are links to it also on the YouTube channel if you want to watch the clip we're talking about as we talk about it. You can also find that at 2 Minute Terminator on YouTube. If you follow us, of course, and tell your friends to as well, follow us on the Facebook and Twitter. There's new pictures, new artwork, new quotes, and new little clips from all the movies, the making ofs, and the minutes we talk about, which I just mentioned. So thank you all for listening. Thank you for the support. And hello to all our Indian, Asian, and Mexican listeners, and Doug Barbaro.
And allow Ethan some time to breathe.
Hasta la vista,
Baby.
fingered by Matt Smith.
Machines. They're unstoppable. Watch out for machines.